do not suffer in terms of meeting the priorities in the remaining period. And on the question of the cooperation, it's a different situation altogether now. You know, prior 29 May, it was only one political party at a national level that was advancing the district development model. Now, it's a government of national unity, which is a coalition government in simple terms. Out of the meeting over the 2 days, we will agree on broad principles that this is our agenda. On issues which we might have differed prior 29 May due to different political parties, we will need to engage each other. I'm sure you know the issue of NHI. It's a subject that was contested between political parties, but we all agree that healthcare access by all our people is something that must happen. The only difference that makes people, the political parties, not to agree is how you do it. The first thing that you need to do, open the engagement. Allow the provinces or the municipalities that do not have a common view in terms of the district development model to express their views, engage them. Coalition succeeds out of engagement, out of coming to a compromise, finding a common ground. So now, it's a different combination altogether going forward. When we agree on broad agenda, we will be executing that agenda. And as you rightly say, it is my responsibility to engage the municipalities and listen to them as to exactly what is it that we are objecting to and how can we make this thing works for all of us and all our people in South Africa.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Colleagues, thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much. We know we took you out of the Lekgotla at the time, and the information you shared is quite important to all our residents as well, all our community and society. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We always like the media because you make people know what is happening in our city. And whatever difficult question you ask, we will take it with patience because we know you coming from the concerns of our people, and we will need to constantly communicate so that the concerns of our people are put at rest. Thank you very much.
Our minister. A minister. The real minister. Yeah, I think Namsang Punamo, let's request. Oh.
Municipalities. I wouldn't want to mention by name, but the people of media and people of South Africa, they know the municipalities who are constantly in the public domain for bad reasons. They are unable to function. They are engulfed by corruption activities. They begin projects and never finish them. The budget got exhausted, yet the projects are not there. And sometimes they are failing even to meet the deadlines in terms of submissions. The dysfunctional municipalities will be our focus point as a second category. For instance, there are municipalities who are given an authority to provide water, and those municipalities are failing to provide water. Our approach is, if a municipality is a water service authority and is failing to perform that authority, why don't you take away that authority and ensure that you provide water to people, because keeping the authority to a sphere of government that is failing to deliver, you are failing the people of South Africa. There are municipalities which were amalgamated because they were not financially viable. They still remain financially not viable. Why do you then keep the municipalities after amalgamation if you realize you did not achieve the target? Further, take a step further to amalgamate them and some municipalities in order to create a municipality that will be financially viable and will be able to deliver services. There are municipalities, term by term, they are on the public domain for bad reasons. You introduce Section 139, now and again, there is no change. This time around, we need to draw a line very quickly. If we realize any intervention is not helping, dissolve that municipality, ask the people to re-elect, so that the dysfunctional municipality, it doesn't become a tendency. That it will take 5 years under intervention and nothing is happening. When a municipality has been assisted, but there is a reluctance of cooperation, just dissolve them. You send a message to the other municipality that is not functioning because of the quarrels between the leaders, because of corruption, because of the high rate of poor cooperation between the municipalities. The seventh administration will have to ensure the voters must see value of their vote in putting into power the governance at all levels. Because there is no point of having the president of a country, the minister, if these people do not deliver. There is also equally no point to have a mayor, to have a councillor who are not delivering services, because their existence is valueless to the community. So now our prime goal is to make the local government work for the people of South Africa.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much, Minister. Colleagues, questions, if you have questions to the Minister, you will also introduce yourself. Let me start with you, my brother.
Tabi Sokoba from Eyewitness News. Minister, maybe just a word on the Government of National Unity. Obviously, there are about a number of political parties that are represented. And I think because you touched on that, non-performing municipalities are going to be dissolved. Now, there could be a situation where municipalities under a specific political party, and obviously you're the minister of, you belong to the IFP. Just maybe speak to us about how you're going to navigate that situation when or if it does arise.
Yeah, no, thank you very much, Tabeso. But I'm sure it was clear that the first thing you do in a dysfunctional municipality is to intervene with support. But it cannot go indefinitely. A line must be drawn somewhere. If you realize we are trying to intervene, we are trying to support, the cooperation is bad, the last option, dissolve. Then the question is, how is this going to happen? Because it's a combination of many political parties. There is something that is very interesting. The voters in South Africa are very smart. They will be watching that who is depriving us of the services. I'm sure all political parties are very clear. We learned the best way on 29 May that do it wrong, the voters will punish you. It's a combination of political parties. When you want to go to a decision of dissolving, you don't do it alone as one political party. And the matter has to go through all stages. And I am confident all political parties do not want a dysfunctional municipality, because it's just 2.5 years to go. The voters will punish the political parties that will deprive them of what could have been better if it was done on time, with sufficient evidence provided that here is the intervention that was done, here was a timeline given for the municipality to cooperate, and they refuse to cooperate. You know what? There are municipalities who are not submitting consistently year after year. And all you need to do, you need to be bold. That is, either you submit this time around or we take a radical action against you. All the political parties in the GNU are committed that we want to see a national government that is working, a provincial government that is working, and a local government that is working. I'm very confident, with sufficient evidence provided, with all the documentation in terms of how far have we tried to intervene, but it all doesn't work. There will be an easy way to say, let us go and allow people, elect people who will deliver services. On that one, we have a common approach because we want a local government that is going to work for our people.
Thank you, Minister. The drill is the same.
Minister, good afternoon. Moloko Moloto from ENCA.
Yes, Molo.
The national, the district development model is a one-plan policy of government, and the aim really is to enhance the implementation of the shared services approach. Yet, we are seeing, particularly municipalities that are under the control of the Democratic Alliance, they don't support it. They don't participate in this one plan. For instance, Parliament had late last year that the city of Tshwane doesn't have a plan that speaks to this one plan. The executive mayor of Tshwane is clear, he doesn't support it. He believes it actually usurps the powers of the local government and take them to the national government. How, given the fact that you are now partners in this government of national unity, particularly as your role, Minister, how are you going to convince them to participate? That's one. Lastly, you have had a baseline budget reduction of about 1.3 billion rand. Which areas do you think are going to be affected in your work, seeing that you now have lesser budget?
Let me start with the last one. Indeed, the cuts on budget is going to affect the department. I will not go into details now as to which areas to compromise, but the appeal and the engagement we are going to do with the Treasury is to allow us to make movements within the available money so that we rearrange our priorities and how much we spend. If Treasury can allow us to do that, we will be able to do the best out of the cut that we have experienced because it was across departments. I think the only approach is that allow us at Treasury to rearrange, move around the rands across the priorities we have in the remaining period. If that can be achieved, which I think it will, because what is key is engagement. We will engage the Treasury on that one, and we will ensure that we do not suffer in terms of meeting the priorities in the remaining period. And on the question of the cooperation, it's a different situation altogether now. You know, prior 29 May, it was only one political party at a national level that was advancing the district development model. Now, it's a government of national unity, which is a coalition government in simple terms. Out of the meeting over the 2 days, we will agree on broad principles, that this is our agenda. On issues which we might have differed prior 29 May due to different political parties, we will need to engage each other. I'm sure you know the issue of NHI. It's a subject that was contested between political parties, but we all agree that healthcare access by all our people is something that must happen. The only difference that makes people, the political parties, not to agree is how you do it. The first thing that you need to do, open the engagement. allow the provinces or the municipalities that do not have a common view in terms of the district development model to express their views, engage them. Coalition succeeds out of engagement, out of coming to a compromise, finding a common ground. So now it's a different combination altogether going forward. When we agree on broad agenda, we will be executing that agenda. And as you rightly say, it is my responsibility to engage the municipalities and listen to them as to exactly what is it that we are objecting to and how can we make this thing works for all of us and all our people in South Africa.
Thank you. Oh, thank you very much. Colleagues, thank you very much. Minister, thank you very much. We know we took you out of the Lekgotla at the time, and the information you shared is quite important to all our residents and all our community and society in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We always like the media because you make people know what is happening in our city. And whatever difficult question you ask, we will take it with patience because we know you coming from the concerns of our people, and we will need to constantly communicate so that the concerns of our people are put at rest. Thank you very much.
Our minister. A minister.
Protect the interest of ESCOM, that the debt that is owed, at least a significant part of that should be paid. And then we also want to protect the interest of municipalities because it's a significant revenue base. So it's important that it doesn't get to be eroded because they use that to distribute and reallocate whatever they get from the surcharge, the additional, if you like, tariff, the amount that they place on the tariff to finance other social infrastructure. So it's a complex space. I'm not about to suggest that it's going to be an easy conversation, but we need to find the solutions as speedily as possible. I'm confident that post that conversation, we should be able to jointly say to the country how best are we going to resolve this crisis going into the future.
Minister Moluku Mloto from ENCA, you talk of anchoring our energy load base, with particularly by bringing nuclear, supposedly to support the fossil fuel, which is coal. And the last time when plans to introduce nuclear were in place, there was an opposition, people saying it's unaffordable. At this point in time, how much in terms of the money do you anticipate is likely to take? And what are the timelines? When can we see this starting to roll out?
The 2,500 megawatts from nuclear is not a panacea, it's just part of the totality of the mix. If you think of the mix, it's over 50,000 megawatts, so it's just a small part of the mix. You are absolutely correct. I think the initial efforts to procure this nuclear, first it was talking over 9,000 megawatts, now we're talking 2,500 megawatts. So it talks to the scale and pace that we can afford. And then the third area is that there's new technology now. The small modular reactors, cheaper to deploy, significantly, like I said, we can be very rapid for us in deploying them. So I think technology has evolved a great deal. That procurement framework answers those questions. What is the cost? Remember that from a nuclear point of view, really the costs are your upfront capital cost, your capital allocation for procuring nuclear. But in terms of its operational costs, we can use Kubek as an example. It's the cheapest form of electricity. So I think it's important that we resolve the issues of that capital allocation. You know that the country's balance sheet has deteriorated. Eskom does not sit there, is not in a good place with regards to its balance sheet. So you need to find a bespoke financing instrument to make possible for us to deploy a nuclear. But we'll answer those questions in absolute terms once we have finalized the framework. All that we're doing is that we're going in that direction. And also what is important is the transparency of the process, because it can be soiled and discredited in that, so that it's open to everyone, and we are able to ensure that it's competitive and it's something that we can afford. And of course, at the right time, we'll be able to announce to the country the direction that we are taking. But it's part of the IRP. I think that's what is important.
Thank you very much, Minister. Colleagues, thank you very much. Minister has to rush in. Colleagues, here is what is going to happen. The Minister, when he was answering, he indicated the meeting that he'll have with the Minister of Cogta. So we are going to bring Minister Tlhabisa here, but also we are going to bring, as his other questions, the economy. So we'll bring also Minister Pakstow here. So you'll bear with us because they also have to listen to some of the presentations, but we'll bring them here. And thank you very much. But I assure you, 30 minutes, you'll be having all of them.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.